Hello, my name is Peter Milton and I am the developer of TimeChainage. This video is part one of a series where I show you the many options for annotating your chart. What I mean by annotation is adding text to the chart. This includes activity descriptions, milestones, data date and other additional text items. Annotating a TimeChainage chart is not at all straightforward, especially if you have a lot of activities. However, as with all features in TimeChainage, we design the annotation controls to be as easy and intuitive to use as possible, while still providing the functionality you require. This video will look at perhaps the most important aspect of annotation, the planned schedule activity labels. Let's get started. I have a project open in TimeChainage which we can use for this demonstration. This simple example shows a tunneling project involving two shafts and a connecting tunnel. The launch and reception shafts are sunk. A tunnel boring machine, or TBM, is assembled in the launch shaft and driven to the reception shaft. The TBM is then removed and the shaft finishing works are undertaken. As you can see, there is already some annotation on the chart. By default, activity descriptions are displayed and aligned with the start of the activities. For linear activities, those that are shown as diagonal lines, like the tunnel drive here, the text is displayed by default at an angle to match the production rate. For non-linear tasks, such as the shaft works for example, text is horizontal. The size of the text that we see on the computer display is determined by our preferences set in the project form. Let's take a look at that. From the toolbar, we click on the Project Details button to open the project form. Here we have the screen font size set at medium. Let's make it small and leave the project form to see how that looks. Well, it still looks fine to me, but maybe too small for watching on YouTube, so we will put it back to medium. The text size on the display is independent of the text size in the final print or PDF you produce. We will set the print text size separately. The other thing to note is that the positioning of some text is fine, but some text is going out of the chart on the right hand side here, and some text is in front of activities making it harder to read. So we will want to reposition some of the text. Before we do that, let's take a look at how the chart will look when printed or made into a PDF. To do that, we go to the File menu and select Print Preview. By default, the printing size will be the default size of the printer you have selected, in this case A4. I think this chart will look best at A3, so to change the print size we go to the Page Setup, then Setup. Then select the paper size as A3. As you can see, I have the printer set as Qt PDF Writer, so I will be outputting a PDF rather than a paper print. We then click OK and OK again. This is now how the chart will look in the final PDF. For this example, we will not bother with the title block as we are only concerned with the chart annotation. There are several changes we could make to improve the readability of the text. We can make the font size a little larger. The Remove TBM from Shaft label is going out of the chart and might stick out even more once we make the font size larger, so we will want to reposition it. The Shaft Finishings label is on top of a task making it harder to read, so we will move that. We may also find that once we make the font size larger, there will be other text that needs moving. We make all of these changes from the planned annotation form. First, we will exit the print preview. Then from the annotation menu in the main form, we select planned. The form is divided into two sections. The top has general settings that apply to all tasks. Then the table below allows you to customize tasks individually. The top section settings are saved as part of your chart layout, but choices you make in the table will apply to all layouts. In the general section at the top, we can set text to the line gradient, which is the default. If we uncheck it, then all text will be shown horizontal. As you can see, the tunneling task labels that were on a gradient are now horizontal. I'll set the option back to the line gradient. In this section, we can also change the font. We want to make it a bit larger, so we will open up the font dialog and change the font size to 10. We will leave the font type, style and colour at the default values, but feel free to play with them on your charts. When I press the apply button, the display text size does not change. The font type, style and colour would have changed if we had modified them, but not the text size. The size we selected only affects the printed text. Next, we will look at the start of line section. Here we decide what we want to show at the start of the activity lines. The drop-down selection box gives us various options such as activity description, the program reference ID, the WBS value, start chainage, start date, and more. We will stick to the activity description. Next, we can show the description for all of the activities or for none. We can align the text to the left or to the right of the activity start chainage for all activities. Finally, we can set a chainage offset and a time offset for all tasks. These settings can be useful as a starting point. We can then customize individual tasks. The default settings are for all task descriptions to be shown and are aligned to the left with 0 chainage and time offsets. We will keep these default settings. The alternative is that we can show text at the end of the line, as set out in the end of line section. By default, text is not shown at the end of the line. The apply button allows you to make changes without leaving the dialog box. This is particularly useful if you have dual monitors, as you can have the annotation form on one monitor and the chart view on the other. Even with a single monitor, this can be useful, as we will see. The table contains the schedule, and for each activity shows the WBS value, reference ID and description. We then have the option for each activity of the text at the start or end of the line, left or right alignment, plus we can set chainage and time offsets. To show or hide an activity's text, just click on the show field and the value will toggle between yes and no. To have the alignment on the left or right side, again you just click in the field and the values will toggle between left and right. We want to show the descriptions of all the activities, so we'll leave them all set to yes, but we will want to move some. The first piece of text that we want to reposition is remove TBM from shaft, as it is going off the edge of the chart. What we can do is set it to right aligned. To do that, we just click on the start alignment field for task 11 and it changes from left to right. What this means is that the right side of the text is aligned with the start chainage of the activity line. We click apply and see how that looks. It will look better if offset a bit. So let's try a chainage offset of plus 10 meters and a time offset of -2 days. We press apply and that looks good. Note that the offset chainage will be whatever units you are using. In this case it is meters, and the time offset is in days. Putting in negative values will move the text to a lower chainage or an earlier date. The construct tunnel eye text is not out in the open. This is activity 10. Let's just set the alignment to right. Press apply to see how it looks. That's fine. The sync reception shaft text could be moved to the left neatly by showing the text at the end of the box and having a right-hand side alignment. To do this, we find the activity in the table. It is reference ID 9. We say no to show at start of line and yes to show at end of line. The end of line text is set by default to right alignment, which is what we want. We must, however, go back to the end of line section at the top of the form and in the drop-down selection box choose Description. Now we apply the settings and that looks good. The chart finishings text needs moving too. That is activity 13. So let's just set the alignment to right. Again we press apply and that looks fine. Looking at the left side of the chart, install TBM could do with moving to the right and down a bit. This is task 3. Let's just use the offset options for this one. I know the activity box is 10 meters across, so if we set an offset of plus 11 meters, that should work. And let's try a time offset of 10 days. We press apply, and that works well. We will move the construct tunnel eye text to the right by 2 meters. That is task 2. We type in 2 meters into the start chainage offset field. Finally, for the sake of demonstration, we will hide the first 2 tunnel task descriptions of drive 20 meters. These are activities 4 and 5. However, if we had a large schedule and wasn't sure where in the table to look for these activities, we can temporarily change from activity description to task reference ID from the selection box. We press apply and we can see on the chart what the task numbers are. And they are indeed 4 and 5 as we thought. We will set the selection box back to description and set show at start of line to no for tasks 4 and 5. As show at end of line is also set to no, no text will be shown for these activities. We press apply and it all looks good. We will leave the planned annotation form by pressing the OK button. Let's see how the print will look. We go to the File menu and select Print Preview. All of the text is now easily readable, so we can leave it as it is and create a PDF. All we need to do is press the Print button, check the PDF Writer option is selected, then press OK. I will save this file to the desktop and call the file Annotation Example. Then press Save. I'll then open the File Explorer, navigate to the file location and double click on the PDF to open it. As you can see, that all looks good. Let's return to the main form. And now would be a good time to save what we have done. If we had a layout open, then we should press the Save Layout button here on the toolbar to save the general annotation settings. We don't have a layout in this project, but all of the settings will be saved when we save the project. So we go to the File menu and click Save. Annotation is an important feature of any TimeChainage chart, and some manual movement of text is inevitable, especially if there are a lot of activities. In TimeChainage, our aim has been to make this task as hassle-free as possible by a combination of automation and straightforward manual adjustments. There are several more options for adding annotation to your chart, and in other videos in this series we will look at all of them. Keep your eye open for when they arrive. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you found this video helpful. TimeChainage, adding an extra dimension to your schedules.